We're about to be joined by, I tell you what, the doyen who has the hot hand. His hot hand hula hand, Brian. He's seeing them like beach balls at the moment. I'm talking about Matty Johns, thanks to New Tech. G'day, Matty.
Joel, Fletch, Brooksy and Tourist.
Yeah. Now, Matthew, I had Luca in here, my daughter, doing her work experience. Can you remember what you did for your work experience? Well, that's my first question. My second one is there something that you wish you did so now you could be actually doing that as a job rather than doing your stuff in the media now?
Award-winning stuff.
Yeah.
Fletch, I was a plumber. I did plumbing for work experience with a local bloke up there who was a lot of the older listeners would know who he is. A fellow called Don Schofield. Now he's a Cessnock bloke who represented Australia numerous times from the western suburbs Magpies, and I did it with Scully. Is there anything I wish I did? Well, I remember being at school about to do the electives in Year 9. And one of the things that came up, there were two things that stood out to me. One was Japanese studies, and the other one was computer studies. And both my friends and I laughed and scoffed and said, why would you want to learn Japanese, and why would you want to know anything about computers?
Yeah, the computer's a big go.
Big go.
I think I remember we started doing computer studies. Like, Matthew, let's be honest here. You can't send an email or click on an email, can you?
No, I've never sent an email in my life. No.
Because you're quite clever in certain things.
Yeah.
What is it about you and technology that just don't work?
Righto. How my brain works, Fletch, right, is that something that appears really straightforward for you blokes, like, okay, let's say, for instance, like you did the rundown of the show and you handed me a piece of paper that had like a normal rundown that most people can read. I can't read that. My brain can't compute it. So I have to go away and work. No matter what I do, I have to work out my own system for it to work. My brain, whatever way it's wired, doesn't it doesn't work logically.
Okay, what about looking at the form? What if you're looking at the race form? Do you look at it a little bit differently to everyone else?
Well, these days I just look at jockeys.
Oh, okay.
So, it's a strange one. But yeah, I got it. It's always hard work. So it takes me, for instance, if you're working on a task, Fletch, and it would take you, say, for instance, if it took you 20 minutes to do something,
yes,
the first crack I had at it, it'd probably take me 2 hours.
Okay, I got one for you.
Yeah.
Can you put brake fluid in your car?
No.
You wouldn't be able to. Could you put water in your radiator?
Yes, I did. I did it a couple of days ago.
Okay.
Yeah, I did. That was a big step for me.
Okay, so
but I had to get my neighbour to show me how to pop the bonnet of the car.
Okay. Because what about packing a cone, smoking a bong?
Smoking a bong? Mate, I haven't smoked a cone since I was in Year 3 at Cessnock
with Sister Veronica.
Yeah, well, Sister Mary B. Yeah. Hey, Fletch, Joel, Mobland.
Yes. How good is it?
So I started watching it last night, and I just found myself 3 o'clock in the morning just laying there still watching it. Tom Hardy.
How good is he, mate?
Take a bow.
Mate, Fletch said to me, Matty, he goes, oh, mate, your boys would love this. And then Nashi says to me last night, he goes, oh, Dad, the young Eddie and his grandmother has got an interesting relationship. I said, yes, they have, mate. Yes, they have.
Yes, they do.
Are you up to date, Matthew? I don't want to spoil it for the people out there, but...
Well, at the moment, Trish is up doing an episode. I've got another couple of episodes.
All right.
Yeah, but old Helen Mirren, didn't she? A wild bit of gear.
And I saw her get interviewed, and she said it was so hard for me to play this character because it's obviously total opposite.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, she's dropping C-bombs,
everything,
and it just doesn't feel right.
Emily.
Giving toot to the grandson, old Eddie.
Yes.
Man.
Oh,
pulled the toot out of the bra.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
That's a big
there you go.
Matty, I wouldn't have thought you would be great friends with IKEA, would you? I couldn't imagine you bringing that manual out. The IKEA manual, putting something together.
Alan, anything involving Alan Key, no, thank you very much. Although Trish went there Saturday with Jack's partner. They went to IKEA. Trish asked would I like to go along. I said, absolutely not. I hate all things Swedish except Bjorn Borg.
Yeah, and meatballs.
They're good. And the mash and the gravy, great.
Yep.
All right, Matthew. Now, we're talking about the Bears last week, how they're back in. Everyone was just frothing. News today... Mal Meninga.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it because, mate, look, if Mal, as we know, he had that amazing coaching run at State of Origin where he was the figurehead. Right? He had the aura. He was the one that kept the players in check, and all the players got so much respect for him. And then he put some younger coaches around him. I think that model would go brilliantly in Western Australia because, look, we've got a big fight in the first couple of years. The Bears have got to go there and have an immediate impact. They've got to be able to draw players there. Mal's a perfect bloke. So if you look at the model with the AFL, when they've moved teams into Sydney, such as the Sydney Swans, they had Ron Barassi. They put Barassi here and GWS, Kevin Sheedy.
Yep.
So blokes who are big figureheads, big personalities, and big profile.
Hey, Brian, we announced the coaches earlier. Tell Matty where we landed.
Oh, yeah. So we've decided it's going to be Mal.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Justin Holbrook, as we know, they were quite close at the... And also, we're going to throw someone else in there that I can't remember. Who was that?
Sammy?
No, we think that Sammy might want the complete job. Anyway, we've gone with Mal and Titsy Holbrook.
Because Mal drafted Titsy in to manage the youngsters, Justin Holbrook that is, at Kangaroos, and then Mal pushed hard for him to get the Gold Coast job, and that job's clearly stood up, really. Like you can't look back on Holbrook's career, can you, and say it's a fail now. And he's back with Robbo, and he's coached with some of the best, so he's got to be front
he
runner.
has. No, he certainly has. He has. I tell you what was interesting, you boys talking before about DCE and the Roosters thing. I've been waiting for this to brew. A bit of talk about this. I was thinking this the other day when players were being released, and I said, for DCE for next year. Excuse me. But they were so urgent to get rid of certain blokes, and now it's come out Chad Townsend. I'm thinking, what's at play here? Is there a chance of him...
June 30.
Mate, it could happen. And as you said, Joey Walsh being named on the bench, extended bench. Might be something to play, boys. How big would that be?
Well, he's not happy there, as we know, because he's not staying there. And, I mean, he's been a fantastic player. The last month, something's been on his mind.
Yes.
Because... He hasn't been great, especially last week. He missed a couple of tackles that led to tries. So maybe he's thinking, how am I going to... It's coming, Well,
it's hard. Well, we can imagine how hard it'd be. You're the captain of the club and you're falling out with the club.
Yeah.
That's really hard. And I'm not saying... Look, one thing about DCE and Manly, what had brewed for a couple of weeks there was the PR battle. And I wonder... But I wonder if Manly let him go early and then basically say, well, it was his request, he wanted to go, so we've let him go, what that would be as far as PR concerned. If fans would go, we're with the club, we agree, because he wanted to go anyway. I don't know, but nothing would surprise boys.
No, it's clearly not healthy. And I'm saying this again. I've said this a couple of times. I'll never forget when Jake Trbojevic got asked about it and he was getting interviewed. And you know what Jake's like. He just said, I could never do this. I could never. I've been at the club as long as Daly, and it's just not something in my makeup to do this. I feel that there is tension at the club between the players over the announcement.
Well, Manly have shown in the past, we have the Pride jersey, is Manly find it very difficult for whatever reading, well, this particular playing group, to sort of move things, compartmentalise, move things to the side and get on with the job. And I've heard a few people say, I'm not alarmed by what has happened. Manly, this is what they do. They're 1 week on, 1 week off. They're inconsistent, but there's more at play with this time. It's, that they had a week off to prepare for that Cronulla game. They had a 2-week preparation going into that, and I thought, okay, we said on the Sunday night show with Fletch, we expected them to come out flying.
Yep.
And they came out, they were so slow out of the blocks, and just some of the things the players were doing, which has never been their go. No. Like Hamole was taking the ball to the line, trying to pass before the line. And you're going, man, what's going on here?
So, now, speaking of Jake Trbojevic, I know you're a massive fan of him.
Yep.
We had Laurie yesterday. Sugar seems to think no, but I seem to think he may pick Jakey T. Are you a fan of picking him?
Yeah. He's my starting 13. I bring Isaiah off the bench.
Wow.
Because I do that. Well, the reason, first thing first, the reason I pick Jake is that Jake has been dropped before in the past. He's been left out and axed, but he's always brought straight back into the side. when he's been dropped or left out of the side in game one, they've lost. And they brought him in for game two, and the side's picked up. So I always think sometimes, okay, what did they realise what was missing when they didn't have him there for game one? And, is it talent? No, it's not that. It's not his passing ability, all those things. Mate, it's the energy and the emotion he brings. And going into big games, like getting yourself up for the occasion, getting that emotion going before big games, that's a skill in itself. And if you've got a player like that in your team, it bleeds through the group. So as far as being part of the squad, that's the reason I have Jake in. The second reason for me putting him off the bench, in the starting lineup and Isaiah off the bench, is that there's a chance that we're going to have Nathan Cleary and very possibly Mitchell Moses on the field at the same time they're ball playing. I don't want to put in that first 20 minutes, I just want to have our compass north-south, more running than there is passing, and so I just want to remove Isaiah from that first 20 minutes. I want my halves to be up on the advantage line, and I want them playing simple, and I want them challenging the line. If you put another playmaker out there, there's every chance you're just going to be finessing the ball towards the touch line. So I want to start that way. Start simple, start north-south, get Nathan in sync, him and Mitchell, and then bring Isaiah off the bench around 20, 25 minutes and let him go from there.
So you happy just for Jake to play the 15 to 20 minutes? That's it? Because
you know what, Fletch, I'd have no qualms about Jake playing 25 minutes in a game.
Okay.
I'd have no concerns with that. In that 25 minutes, in the build-up to the game and what he'd give to that dressing room, it'd be worth it.
Hey, Matty, just moving on to another topic, and I couldn't believe this, actually, because I don't know what you actually achieve from it, risk and reward. And he's a great fella. Spud Elford I'm talking about with the watering down of the ball.
Oh, yeah.
And over the years, there's been shenanigans. You had the Vaseline on the legs of...
You're speaking to the converted.
Well, that's what I'm going to. So
you and your brother, you little sneaks.
So did you guys used to do the... If you were playing a Ferrari, is this true, Matthew? If you had a Ferrari out on the wings, would you turn a good 4 into a heavy 10, would you?
Yep. Alan Maman, when we were young blokes, where I was working as a groundsman, they got me to do it. They played St George one week, and it was in 1990, Martin Afire and Ricky Walford on the wings, and they just got me to saturate the 10 percentiles, either near the touchline, mate, and the dressing room.
Yeah,
that was a serious go.
Yeah.
We used to get the power hose out and just completely saturate the dressing room, and then the groundsman would double up on the bloke who ran the ground and do it the morning of the game or the afternoon before the night game, and do it again. So when you walked in there, it was just uncomfortable.
Yeah, because you had that rank fake grass, not even the good stuff.
Yeah.
No.
It was like the ones you get from Bunnings.
That's
thick
right.
and rank.
And you had to stand, Brian, when you'd play these blokes. You had to stand on the bench seating just to get changed. Didn't you? Otherwise, you're in.
Soaked. Yeah, it was soaked.
Yeah.
But there's little tricks at which, would it be illegal? But we used to get the rag with the Vaseline all over it, and when the opposition team got a penalty, they kicked in the touch, our ball boy, he'd smear Vaseline over the ball. And then if they turned the ball over to us, I'd stop the game and say to the referee, look at this. And he would then change it back. Mate, lots of tricks. I used to get there with slippery conditions. And you put your tape around your ankles? You tape your ankles, of course.
Yeah.
So I'd get that non-stretch, and I'd put it over where I'd carry the ball on my right arm, about halfway at the arm. But then my last turn, I turn it inside out so the ball gripped to it, so you wouldn't lose the ball.
That's great.
Oh, there's miles of them.
Did Bozo do the capsules?
Blood capsules.
The blood capsules.
Remember the blood bin?
Yeah.
Yep, he'd have the blood capsules. And the other thing Bozo would do, he'd send the sheriff on there, Brian Hollis, because in the international games, it was... Even though the NRL was unlimited interchange, when we played internationals in 95 to 98, it was 4 interchanges. And so what they used to do, the sheriff used to go on there, Brian Hollis, with a tiny little razor, and he'd just nick the eyebrow of Spud and Cement, and they get interchanged.
Wow.
So lots of little tricks and shenanigans.
I remember once at training, we were going around. I put soy sauce in the water bottles during the summer. One of the boys. I think it was Robert. I think it was the great Robert Miles guy. And I was just because I was peering. I was at the back of the rod, and I was just peering, and he just went buzz.
Mate, I'll tell you, we years ago. So, and I won't name the bloke because he's on a coaching staff now, and he'd hate me to do it, but. We went to Barrington Tops, which is up sort of Gloucester way.
Yeah, shout out to you, Pricey.
Yeah. So we're coming last on the bikes. We had to climb this big mountain, and this lady pulls over, and she says, "Oh, boys, do you need to lift?" We said, "Oh, yeah, we can't go all the way to the top, but just give us a few Ks, right?" And sure enough, the coaching staff come past, and they're waving to her, and we're sitting in the back seat with the bikes. So we were busted.
Mate,
you could be on the team tomorrow.
You said about Pricey there, boys. On the Backstage podcast, we had Josh Adokar just on there before. And, mate, he was fantastic. But we were talking about his grandfather, Wally, who, of course, held 11 titles in something like 10 divisions, Wally Carr. Anyway, we're having a chat about him, and I reminded him the story that you said, Fletch, when you asked Wally once, what's the toughest fight you ever had?
No, it was in his book. It was in his book.
In his book, I'm sorry. Fighting Ray Price.
Yep.
In the street on Goulburn Street.
Yep, really? Next to the Civic Hotel.
Yeah, at the front of the Civic. And anyway, I said to Josh about that, and Josh laughed and said, yes, just recently they had a Parramatta do, and Pricey walked up, smiled, put his arm around Josh, and Josh said, Josh Adokar, how you doing? He goes, mate, I know who you are, and I knew your grandfather very well.
Oh, wow.
I thought it was a nice touch.
They said it went for 20 minutes.
Really?
So Pricey was in his heyday by playing NRL, and Wally was a world champion or Australian champion at the time. Imagine, and they reckon he just Ray Price just kept getting up because Wally was just clipping him. Like it's just a different era.
Like I think I've told you, Blaze, this before. It's hard. We always you tell stories and you forget about them. But I love Pricey. I mean, he's cranky bastard, but mate, I just think he was incredible player, and I think he's a terrific bloke, actually. Anyway, when he got diagnosed with bowel cancer, I rang him, and he went, hey, hello. I said, Pricey, it's Matty Johns, mate. Listen, how you going? He said, yeah, mate. I said, I heard about the bowel cancer, and you all right? And he said, Matty, I've never been more excited. He said, this is the challenge I've been waiting for since I've retired. He said, I'll beat this.
Oh, wow.
I went, okay. Now, I said, so what treatment again? He said, mate, I've had radiation. He said, I had my chemo this morning. And when you go through chemo, mate, you've got to go most of the day and go and lay down. Anyway, I heard some banging in the background. I said, what are you doing? He said, mate, he goes, I'll get the chemo and I go straight back to the building site.
Oh,
and away he goes.
Matty,
mate, that's how they roll, those blokes.
Oh, mate, tough as nails. We've got to go, Matty. We'll chat Thursday for New Tech. Well done, mate.
Good on you, boys.
See you, Matthew.
What, you're still here? Well, you can see more on the Joel and Fletch socials and catch us live on SEN Radio, you beautiful humans.